had things to dwell on. And think about this, Abraham was dwelling on killing his only son. But even through all the dwelling, even through all the thinking in his head, and I'm sure the devil was attacking him. I'm sure the devil said, this is crazy. If you believe in God, why would God have you kill your son? There ain't a doubt in my mind that the devil was attacking him hard, all night long. But you know what? Abraham's faith, we come back to that faith and obedience. And he stayed true. And so he didn't let the task at hand overcome his faith. That's the difference between Abraham and some of the things that we go through. Sometimes, we're presented with opportunities and we'll dwell on them and we'll end up backing out of them. But Abraham didn't. But another difference between us and what Abraham encountered is, with me with the dental work, I knew the reason why I had to have the dental work. I knew it was causing me pain, it was causing me agony, it was causing me, issues that I had to take care of. Abraham had no idea why God wanted him to sacrifice his son. It was just out of the blue that God came to Abraham and said, you need to sacrifice your son. So that made it even harder because I'm sure he was questioning in his mind, why would you have me do this today? Why would you ask me to kill my son? And so that's lesson number 2. Sacrifice doesn't always come with answers. And then also looking at verse 3, it says, early the next morning. And so there was no delay, there was no procrastination. He got up early in the morning. He could have put it off. He could have said, well, let's stick around a little longer. Maybe God will change his mind. How many times are we faced with situations? I know whenever Gerald asked me to preach, I'm like, oh my goodness. I thought to myself, I'm just going to, I don't know, maybe I'll be sick that day. I ain't going to lie to you. Those thoughts in my mind, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll be sick. And then Eric could just sing all day, Yeah. But those things happen. We're human. It's human nature. And that's the devil. The devil will tell us that we're not worthy, and we're not able, and we're not capable of doing the things that God has called us to do. But that just really sticks out to me because that's a pure obedience right there. That he got up early that morning and went. He didn't waver. His faith wasn't wavering. He got right up and he went to deal with the task at hand. That's something as Christians that we gotta mirror our lives from. We can learn so much from Abraham. God calls us every day to do things, and it may not, and it's not to the extent of sacrificing our children. But how many times have you been in church and you see somebody go to the altar and pray, and maybe something tells you in your mind, I need to go pray for them, but you don't. You sit in your chair. I've been there. It's easy. We dwell on something and we think to ourselves, oh, somebody's going to look at me wrong. Somebody's going to think I'm crazy. What we worry about what other people think. Abraham didn't have any worry what other people was thinking. If Abraham told everybody that he was going to go kill his son, they probably would have had a mob on him and said, you're crazy. If he lived in today's time, they would have put him in a psych ward. We worry too much as Christians about what other people think. We really need to focus our faith and our obedience on what God has for us. Because God has so much more than the world could ever offer us. So much more. So that's lesson number 3. Godly obedience should be swift. Like I said, I'm guilty of it. I think all Christians are guilty of it, of procrastinating, putting things off, worrying about things. But if God brings us to it, He'll bring us through it. So let's work on that as Christians. Let's really just build up our faith, build up our obedience. If God calls you to do something, and like I said, it may not be preaching. It may be getting up and singing a song one morning. It may be going and shaking somebody's hand, telling them, hey, how are you doing today? He may be praying for somebody one night. There's so many things that as Christians that we're called to do. We're called to serve. And sometimes serving is hard. Serving is hard. It takes a servant heart to be a Christian. And there's the devil will tell us, oh, you don't have to do that kind of things. You don't have to do that stuff. But how hard would it be to go and help out like the homeless shelter? How hard would it be to go and serve some food to them one day? How hard would it be to volunteer somewhere? How hard would it be to do these things? As Christians, we should be doing those things. Every single one of us. There's not just one of us who's called to do that. We're all called to serve. We're all called to give our abilities, the best of our abilities. And so we can learn so much from Abraham, so much with his faith and his obedience. Verse 5, if you look there, it says, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you." What sticks out to me in that verse, he says, "We will come back to you." He doesn't say, "I will come back to you." He says, "We will come back to you." That's another example of Abraham's faith. He knew that God was going to provide a way when he got on that mountain. He knew. He told his servants that, "Me and the boy, we will come back to you." That's just amazing to me. And it takes reading these things and over to grasp some of it sometimes. When I heard it read to me, I didn't really catch the "we."